Yo's, good evening. I'm checking in again, and this time back in my own space because I have the week to myself, so that's lovely. Today, tonight, I'm gonna make this journal so that I can reflect and do it better. Every step of the way of this video is about getting the content more and more accurate. The content that really speaks to me, number one, and hopefully speaks to another person so that it's not just going to benefit me but at least another person. So I'm just going to go out there and share with you what has happened today, because quite a lot has happened. And it's important for me to share what comes to my mind without scripting, because my mind is so good at picking up what the mainstream wants, which is helpful, as I always say. But that's not what I am here to do. That's not what I started this video for. And like I said, there's a lot of kind souls that will help me by giving me comments, encouragement, even some constructive feedback that sometimes I don't accept, honestly. But it's not about not accepting, it's the fact that I am clearer and clearer about what this means to me, this video itself. And it's so important for me to express it in the most authentic way ever. I speak with a lot of energy. Okay, I can't really define because I'm not exactly angry. I know that this is all in preparation for me to say something. Because actually I have a tripod at home that is, that I can make this video today, but I got so enraged when I realized that the tripod was taken away, by my father to go overseas on his trip and stuff. But I was so angry that it just triggers back all the memories that I had before. And it's really not about him. I make it a point nowadays to just pause and understand what the hell is it that I can do about it. Because anything that happens at this very moment as I'm maturing, I already know it's not about my father. It's what am I here to do in the first place? If I keep on blaming somebody else for the bad things that happen to me in my perspective, what's good is it got for me? That's why I'm like feeling so enraged, because I'm like emotionally reactive. But at the same time, I'm trying to rationalize this. So I think once in a while, I just have to let it go. Have this rage, which I feel that all of us are entitled to sometimes. And I learned a lot about fine lines these days, this whole week, the last 7 days at least. The fine line of being expressive, showing your authentic energy, emotion and stuff. And at the same time, it's not about blaming others, and it's not about just releasing it out so that you benefit as one person, I benefit as one person, and then the rest gets injured or harmed. So it's this kind of fine line that I've been noticing, and I'm so lucky to always have this opportunity to sense and regulate and reflect, because a lot more things happen. When it comes to big parts of your life, they are like career. I think hobby is a very big part, to find out what really makes you happy, or things that can really keep you in a routine in terms of what you like to do, and then you will do it very effortlessly. These are all things that are important to have as part of the lifestyle. If I cannot make career my hobby, you know. But in the meantime, there's always a spectrum. There's always a transition period, right, where I am on the way of making my hobby a career that can really keep me comfortable in life and continue to progress in human consciousness, at the same time be very comfortable in my life and being able to provide for my parents and things like that. But most importantly, I always stress that it cannot be mainstream, because I'm very sick of it. I've seen tons of videos, you know. It makes me very disgusted if I join the mainstream in just getting everybody's attention just for money. It's important. Again, it's a fine line. It's important to have money, because I don't like to struggle if I want to go to Korea in February and then I have to like think very hard about how much I'm gonna spend and everything at the age of 30, you know, even on 40s or 50s. If I have to think like that, then I also don't feel good. So money is important. Let me stress that. But more importantly, when I'm doing something that really matters to me, I hope that it's not just for money. And that's why I struggle here. Because I can't come up with a content that is ready for the world yet. So I'm taking my steps, my baby steps. Because I struggle with this fine line. If I prepare for a content, I automatically want to make it very commercialized, you know. And maybe I talk about a topic that relates to my career so that I can optimize, you know, show people as a business development. Of course, it would be nice if I can show people all the skills and stuff. I think it will all make sense. But my oh my soul is not wanting this at all. And I also struggle. Sometimes I'm also very uncomfortable with what my intuition or my soul wants, and I just want to jump right back to being logical about these things. Like, hey, come on lah, you know, why am I wasting so much time doing this that nobody watches and stuff like that? But I gotta remind myself, this is really a journal for me. It's a journey. And I'm willing to write about it. Just that I don't want to write. Now we have another channel called vlogging. Video log my journals, my dear diaries, and I want to be public, because I never know what my small mind would assume. I may never know who am I impacting, and I don't mind sharing it. The diary is mainly for me to process what has happened to me, my thoughts, my reflections and stuff, and I'm no longer feeling that I need to be very private. I'm only leaving out some information because not everybody is like me. I strongly believe that kindness trumps over honesty. So I will bear in mind, when I'm honest, where is the boundary for others? If I am talking, because it's always in relation with others, right? I'm not very keen to be on my own for the rest of my life, like being absolutely no relationship with anybody else, so that's not making sense for me. So that means that there will be a relationship involved, and not everybody is ready for that honesty. And in that case, then when I do this in public, this is my task. I need to find a way to be authentic, at the same time being able to share enough information so that it makes sense for other people to just listen in and also be inspired to take the next step. Every video that I've been taking has been a step towards this. The balance of authenticity and what information can I really share that doesn't hurt others. Because I'm not very sure what other information can hurt me anymore. Because I'm really out there. I've already spoken to the most important people in my life, telling my parents that I'm bisexual and stuff. There's nothing for me to hide. And And I feel that the more I hide, the more effort I need to put in anyway. So I would like to live life more effortlessly as much as possible. So that's not my goal, to keep everything private. I have my times of pain and everything, and I wish to share it very, very openly, which I feel very comfortable to do so. But there are moral standards in this world, in this society. At least in Singapore, it's actually much higher in moral standards. That other people's privacy is quite important too. So if I were to really share my honest thoughts, these are all coming into play, and that's why I think every day, as I agree to grow, as I will myself to grow, the challenges ahead are really quite testing, to be honest. And most of and like today, I was really not sure why was I so upset and angry about things that I already know. So I take the time to really sense the breakdown. What is it that really irks me when I'm being questioned about my worth? Whether I did it to myself or somebody did it to me, it doesn't matter. Because whatever it is, the point is just to make sure I evolve. The point is just to make sure I learn my lesson. And again, there's a fine line. I can't really rush it. I need to have the patience. It's not that, because lessons will repeat if I don't learn them. So, and it's also not a point for me to stop myself from repeating. It's all a journey, if I'm meant to do this a few more times, right, it doesn't matter. I don't think it's wise to judge myself over how many times I try to get over this. Oh, damn, I'm going through this again. I just identify it, damn, and stuff like that. These are all the negative side of the energy, where actually, if I'm able to even recognize this is a good thing already, where I can just take it and realize that, hey, it's repeating. So let's see what is the new information there. My colleague shared with me that she was watching this show on Netflix. She didn't even remember, maybe it's a Chinese drama or something, that this girl was trying to solve a mystery in the last 12 hours of her life before she died. So to break the spell of how to, move on with life. I think this is very similar, and that's why the story was shared with me today, maybe all collating so that I can speak to this you. I feel that it's the same for many, for myself at least. Maybe some of us are feeling the same as well, where things are just repeating. Like, for me, it's not a 12-hour thing. I wish it was 12 hours, then it's a lot shorter for me to understand and observe, right? But sometimes it's like, I take a few years, maybe let's say love relationship, it takes a few years, right? Maybe 1 or 2 years. Then I break up. And then maybe the same cycle happens. Wow, that's gonna be very long, isn't it? But basically it's the same as this 12 hours time frame, isn't it? So I also hope that I get faster and faster with my growth. But it's not a place for me to decide in terms of the time frame, because everything has its time. I was just booking my flight tickets to Korea, and I noticed some things. I had a lot of problems trying to pay for it, so I was thinking, wow, I got money also cannot book one eh. And I was wondering why. And I was, and every time I fail paying with my credit card online, right, it has a 30-minute wait before I can go back to my same seat that I booked, which I really wanted. So I had to wait half an hour. So I was like, oh no, I'm really very eager to go to Korea, so what's stopping me? And I asked myself, what is the intuition trying to tell me or trying to prepare me for? And when I went in again, right, and I saw the revelation, which means in the calendar, I realized that if I just shift my travel dates two days back, right, I actually saved $70 in terms of just flight alone, and then all my accommodation is still the same price, which I felt that is something that my soul already tries to inform me, but it cannot be so obvious, right? Just like really tell me in my face from some place. And quite a few things keep happening like this, when I was trying to pay for something and it didn't work. Like I was trying to sign up for this membership so I get like extra $10 off or something like that over time and stuff. And I tried it on 3 devices with the cashier trying to help me using her own phone and stuff like that. And it still didn't work. I still didn't get a membership, and I told her, no, don't worry, I don't think I'm meant to do it. And I choose to believe it, that there's something that is really supporting me in a sense. So things like that, I mean, this can all be taken into parallel learnings. Because sometimes I really feel so emotional, like sometimes it's very draining, that I will be reminded of the past. I mean, in my school days, there are some regrets that I have. And this is the part that I feel that I can't really share too much because it infringes other people's privacy. But during my school days, I was reminded this morning that, I'm no longer a part of it, and I asked myself, am I really that bad a person to not have friends from school? And not say don't have, but at the age of 40 or 50, I would like to be able to say that I have a friend whom I've met like 30 years ago, and we're still in touch and very close, and we do things together and stuff. There are a lot of things like that I really, sometimes I feel sad looking at pictures like that. It can really be very lonely when I decided to walk the path of uniqueness, in a sense. I mean, that's a really nice way to put it, but more like not following the mainstream and not succumb to the normal practice, and keep on building my courage, my bravery to try something different and go into the uncertainty without too much information. And just a disclaimer, I'm pretty comfortable with that. Not everybody has the same set of personalities, to go through this. So honestly, it's good to assess. As I'm sharing with you to inspire you, it's also good to assess what kind of person I am. So I use quite a lot of profiling systems, okay? I think Enneagram is pretty general and sophisticated enough to be comfortable understanding who I am without being overly subscribed or superstitious in a sense. Because it's complicated enough for me not to really fully identify myself. It's just a guide for me to get comfortable with where I am, and then so that I can evolve and grow into something. So if you have a chance to look at Enneagram, it'll be interesting. Or if you even want a very effective course, I can recommend you to some. But for me, I went for NLP that has combined with some Enneagram, and they are very good coaches that I was with. Again, very blessed, so thank you very much. To help me understand. So in a way, my Enneagram, I'm a type 4-8-7. So I'm intensely creative, even though it doesn't seem so at this moment. But I love dance, and I'm falling in love with acting. I'm not sure what else I can do, but it really brings me to life to be able to express myself differently. It's not just about words. And even through these videos, I'm quite certain that it's not about the words that I have, but it's more about the energy that I'm giving and stuff. That's why I'm so comfortable and probably looking natural, even though it takes a lot to start. But yeah, so that's me, type 4, intensely creative, but at the same time, there are some wings but I don't have to go into detail about that. And then the 8, type 8 is like, don't need too much information to take action. But the unhealthy side is that it's overly controlling, which I've done so for the last, I think, at least 10 years, trying to get my life in place and stuff. But I learned to harness the energy of 8. That means not having too much information and just act on it, which is very, very helpful. And the third one, which was type 7, right, which is really helpful in ideation, because it's all about, what's new, what's next, and can I get more of everything. The more the better. Sometimes the less is better, but the more the merrier kind of type. So being creative, I think this combi has been perfect for me. So yeah, as I am happy to really inspire the next person like you to take the step forward to really figure out what you're here to do on earth, I feel that it's really important to remind myself that it is because of my personality as well. Exactly like quantum physics, right? The observer is also subjected to the result of the experiment. So that's why it's not easy to really stay consistent. Yeah, because it's all subjective in terms of what the observer interprets in the first place. So it kind of leads us to understand that everything is connected. Again, mycelium. So that's the interesting part, right? So where was I, going so far ahead with all this inspirational energy when I started off really upset. Yeah, it's about friends, right? Yeah, and the day continued to be very emotional for me. And sometimes emotional, I misinterpret it sometimes as being, emo, like being upset for no reason, being moody for no reason, just want to get attention, that's kind of the meaning of being moody. But sometimes emotional means to me it's just that, I get so angry sometimes, I get so attached to the situation without being able to, again, this is a fine line thing, without being able to grow from it. I call this a fine line because that's what Sadhguru has taught me, to be really involved. That means can really cry for somebody, be very, very involved in what has happened. If let's say someone close to me dies, I don't like emotionally disengage myself. I literally feel the pain and I cry over it and stuff. But at the same time, I'm able to detach myself when the processing is done. So that's the fine line. It's like it's like really toying with drugs, but at the same time, don't be addicted to it. I think that's the easiest graphical way to say it. But basically, that's the thin line that I'm always been exposed to for the last 7 days. It's not so much of the extreme anymore that, or because I shouldn't be emotional so that I can grow myself. That means if somebody really close to me dies, I just rationalize the fact that they'll be reincarnated, or it's meant to be, all this happened for a reason kind of thing. But to really experience it as a human being, okay, to really feel what it's like being so involved in the experience, and at the same time move on, at the same time being able to move on to the next experience, because that's what life is about. That if people, I mean, there are some things that I'm really stuck in life because it's a huge thorn in me, in my heart. But the point is to remember, sooner or later it's good to move on and be detached. I mean, it gets boring as well, right? If I'm intensely feeling the same thing over and over and over again without having the willingness to even look at what I can grow from this. I think that's the point today. As I'm feeling all muddled up It was a very nice point. I mean, I'm really lucky to have friends at work who are very wise people, to sometimes just point out quite quickly to me, because I just shared with her that I just want to keep my authenticity. That's why I don't wish to do any editing in my videos. And then she said, well, you don't have to edit. I mean, if you're pausing because you can't think of anything to say, then pause and just let it be. Ultimately, it's a journal to yourself. That's what she said. And it's true. I also don't wish to really keep on showing up for people. It makes me so stressed. And it's really not easy to detach myself from the fact that people need consistency. That means if I don't produce a video every 2 or 3 days, I don't improve on the viewership, and then I waste my time, and it just snowballs, and that's not my point to make this video. Of course, I wish that it will turn up to something, so that at the end of the day I really want to make an impact out of this. But it's not in my place to keep on wishing it according to what my mind thinks, because it's more important that I find out what my heart thinks, what my soul thinks. Because that's where it really comes to life. That's where you really see that pot of gold at the end of rainbow. Not only about the materialistic gains, but honestly it's about the fulfillment. It's very cliche, but it's a feeling that many a times I wish to sustain. Because you can't really buy it with time, with money. Time and money almost the same, but you can't yeah. And if I were to think that I am from the consciousness to come into this life to experience everything like that, I want to do this. If I can live to 100, okay, as an assumption, it's not very long. Because if I return back to the consciousness and I will no longer have a mortal body after this, that's quite a waste, isn't it, if I keep on not trying to evolve? But there's another school of saying where you can keep on, improving or evolving. So once I return back to the consciousness after this mortal body dies, I can come back into another set of beliefs that my soul want to grow from and stuff, and then start another time and all. But it does motivate me to make the best use of my time, so that's why I'm sharing it. And at this moment, I'm checking out. Hope to see you soon. And I really enjoyed myself, starting this. And I hope any of you who's listening can also take the time to figure out how to journal your own life. I've had ideas about calling it a spiritual Google or something like that, so that I can do many things with it. Let's see how I can evolve from there, because I've already started getting rejections and stuff about this new idea. But I'm so glad I'm the inventor, so I can keep on inventing, right? So let's see. Looking forward. I mean, I'm preparing myself for the Korea trip, so learning Korean and trying to get intensive classes and stuff, but at the same time also researching, and also very curious about why Korea. I have some understanding in terms of the fact that if I want to live overseas, I want to be part of Asia still, and Korean is the easiest language to learn apart from all the Asian language, because it doesn't feel good lah, like being an Asian and then being in European or Western countries. Then they always have this look lah. But if I'm Asian, it's not that bad. Foreigner, yes, but still enjoying myself in a 4 seasons country, and it can be so cold, which I love. So yeah, let's see where it takes me. Signing off now. Goodbye. See you.